Got a package from Westcott. Westcott makes that light, this one right here, and they said there's a way for me to make it even more low profile. So they shipped over something. I have no idea what it is. Let's check it out together. Oh, okay. Battery and charger. So a while ago, I was playing with the light, and this is how I control this light right here. So I can make it brighter, dimmer from here. But it has an option to be powered off of a V-mount. But for some reason, it came out green. So I was like, what the heck? Turns out it requires a 26-volt V-mount battery, or else it can't power all the different channels of color. Let's give this a shot. Oh, aha, perfect. Too bright. Let me lower that back down. All right, so that makes more sense. Now let's try swapping out this diffusion because it's a little bit thick and I really want it to be as thin as possible. All this stuff is just Velcro, so it's easy to pull off. That's what I'm talking about. Look how skinny that thing is. And this is the egg crate grit to kind of control some of that spill. So right now it's kind of going in like every direction, but let's see here. There we go. I love how everything's just Velcro. It's just psh. I'm almost starting to feel that it's a little too contrasty. Maybe I should just take off this egg crate here, let it spill a little bit more. And I love these egg crates, especially when you're trying to control the light a little bit more and kind of funnel that in. So I'll definitely be using this at some point. Now, I think my favorite thing about the Westcott lights is that they're very portable. They're a little bit on the pricey end. They're actually a lot on the pricey end. But you know, it kind of does everything from all the different funky colors you might want. And really it's just this controller which has the battery attached to it and this mat, which of course is Velcroed on here. So check it out. It's just this floppy mat with a bunch of LEDs, and they say it's really tough and it weighs close to nothing, so we've actually had to tape this onto walls before. And usually you got to be really careful about rigging lights over actors and actresses, but you know, a light like this, even if it fell from up here, yeah, I'm good. If this is a Fresnel, I'll be bleeding out of my head right now. But yeah, you could roll it up like this. You could tape it to a wall. You could attach it to this thing. And literally just with this and this, you can kind of go out into the middle of the forest and get some decent lighting. So this is the last meal we're gonna have for a while out because the mayor here just shut down all the bars, nightclubs, entertainment venues until the end of this month. So it goes into effect at midnight. So that's just in a few hours.
Just got real.
All right, we're gonna extra enjoy this food right now. So guess where we're at? You see? You roll down the window, it's raining pretty bad. Visiting Airy. Came here to shoot a video with them, mostly talking about the Trinity system. It's their super futuristic stabilizer system. And we gotta talk about Bali too. We're supposed to go to Bali in like 2 weeks, but with all the news coming out, I don't know if that's the responsible thing to do. I feel like it's just too irresponsible to host a trip right now with the situation. Actually, our flights to Bali just got canceled. Did you get that email too?
I thought they were changed.
They were changed, but they changed it in a way where we can't do it. They basically switched around our flights to make it impossible because it's a layover flight, so it's like 2 legs. But then the second leg of it, they made it 1 day earlier, so it's impossible for us to catch that. So Carrie's been on the phone trying to get in touch with them.
I can't get through to anybody.
Messaging Gerard, who's been doing a ton of work. He's actually there right now, trying to put this thing together, make it work all smooth. But and the thing that makes it hard is that there's been a bunch of people that have booked flights to go to Bali. With most American airlines, they are offering, you know, free cancellations, or you could postpone or whatever, but most of us are using international airlines to get there. You know, some people are down to cancel, but I think there's also some people that are like, no, let's still try to make this happen, but I just don't feel too right doing it. It's definitely gonna be expensive on Durar and my end to try to, you know, postpone, because there's all these non-refundable deposits that we've put in. But I think it's important for us to make this decision based on like what's the best thing to do before we consider financial decisions. But yeah, but then people are making decisions to, you know, cancel giant events that affect a lot more people than they affect us. So I guess this is just what the whole world is kind of going through. My problem is relatively very small compared to that.
Basement of Life Room in West Hollywood. It's just like, oh my god.
All right, so we're quarantined right now. Well, not necessarily quarantined, but nothing is open. We're trying to make the most out of it. Question, which era had the best music?
The 60s.
You think the 60s?
Yes.
Dylan?
80s.
Dylan thinks the 80s.
I
You
didn't
said
know
the
these.
60s?
Yeah.
Who came out in the 60s? I thought it was the
Floyd?
70s, huh?
Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin.
Beatles.
Wait, Led Zeppelin's part of the 60s?
I think
it
so.
was the 70s.
Oh
Okay.
no, Beatles was earlier, huh?
Oh,
Beatles.
snap. 60s was the Beatles.
Yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
I think
That's
it
a
was
big
also Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd.
Led Zeppelin, I'm pretty sure, was Led. Because that
He
guy's
was-
still alive.
He was later.
So when was this song popular?
80s.
Isn't it weird to see how much music changes throughout time? Because if we grew up in this era, we would listen to this and be like, hell yeah, this is my track. Turn it up, man.
They said that they're basically laying everyone off because of the coronavirus.
Wait, so you have no job?
Well, with that one catering place, they basically laid everyone off. So
Well, you just got fired? Dude,
apparently,
a majority of people watching right now have been affected very negatively.
so we're on the same level.
You know what's gonna make you feel better is pizza. Let's go.
Okay.
What does Dylan do right after he gets laid off? He pulls up some Backstreet Boys.
Got it wrong.
Insane.
Got it wrong.
This is literally 5 minutes after Dylan found out he's getting laid off. He's too into it. There's the dance that all the kids are doing right now, and it's like this or something. Like
It's the
I don't.
Fortnite dance.
It's the
They're
Fortnite
like-
dance.
Oh, this
Wait,
one?
wait.
That
Oh.
one. That one.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
That
what is
one.
that? What is that dance?
I don't know what that is.
It's called Orange Justice. There's a WikiHow video on how to do this. So when we go around a group of young kids, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you guys are old farts. We don't want to listen to you." But then we do this dance, and then they'll be like, "Oh, you're one of us." So that's why we have to study this. We should do a poll on who does the best Orange Justice. Go.
It's like,
Are we relatable to the young audience yet? All right, time to go get pizza. I've been very conscious of germs over the last couple days. I'll admit. Like, I was like, oh, statistically, coronavirus shouldn't affect me. But now I'm like, every time I open a door, I don't want to open the door by grabbing the handle. If I have a long sleeve, I'll roll up my hand in the sleeve and just open it through that. All right, so we got our pizza. This is still day one. I guess the streets are a little bit emptier than they usually would, but there's still people out for the most part. It is interesting though, because everybody is very aware. I don't know when the last time something happened where every single person was very aware of one thing. That's the first time I've ever been to a pizza shop where after I pick up the pizza, they were like, oh yeah, you want some hand sanitizer? We have some disinfectant wipes right here too, if you want.
Nice.
Yeah. Before we close out, let me just remind you, 20 seconds. Good morning.
Good morning.
We're off to Costco to try to
It's-
see if we can get some stuff.
It's 9:23 and they don't open till 10, but I'm telling you, I think there's gonna be a line and it's gonna be packed already.
I think it's pretty funny that out of all the things there's a shortage of, it's like toilet paper is the biggest one. And I think it's because it's become such a thing
Oh,
that
she's
people...
got her toilet paper.
Oh, she's got toilet paper? Whoa,
Go
yeah.
check that old lady.
Look at that
Good
old
for
lady.
her. Good job.
We should roll up and be like, yo, where'd you get that?
Did you hear about those guys? I think they're from like Texas or something. But those guys that bought like 18,000 bottles of Purell and were like trying to sell it, but since they got caught for gouging or people were starting to like pay attention, they couldn't sell it, so they were just stuck with all this hand sanitizer.
You're gonna have the cleanest hands forever. Yeah, I mean, it's like, it shouldn't be a shortage, but it's just
No,
like
'cause
everyone's in
everyone's
panic
panicked,
mode. So
yeah.
they're like, toilet paper, God! Because zombie apocalypse happens. That's really, like, that's something that no one saw coming.
I wonder if anyone's bought a bidet.
No, that's what Sam
that's
was
the
saying.
answer.
Sam
Yes,
was saying,
he's
like,
smart.
everyone should just get a bidet.
Problem solved.
You know, I'm up to order a bidet today. Should we
I'm-
get one?
I think they're kind of.
I
But if
don't-
it came down to like no
it's more
toilet paper,
hygienic, right?
yeah, I would totally be down for one because that's way better than
Hop
you know,
in the shower, using the handle to like.
Have you also heard that in Los Angeles there's no parking violations being handed out for many of the parking restrictions? One of the big things about living in Los Angeles is you get really used to street sweeping. That's like a big thing here. You spend a little bit of time in LA, you'll get a street sweeping ticket. There's always a certain day where street sweeping comes through. Oh no! Costco's not gonna open for another half hour. So we're just gonna be hanging out with all these people. That's cool.
They've just confirmed that there's toilet paper in there. Should
Wow.
I make a mad dash? Should I outrun?
This is a bit counterproductive having all these people bunched up though. People are really freaking out a little bit. This is like You could tell it's not like chaos, but at the same time, everybody is just trying to get through, push their cart through. People keep running into me with their carts because they're not looking at where they're going. Like, there is no shortage of stuff. Well, there is now because of all the hoarding. Every single cart has toilet paper. We did not get toilet paper.
I never want to come here again.
People literally kept ramming me with their carts on accident. This guy did it 3 times in a row while we were in line. I would take a few steps and then he would ram me. And I like looked over and he was like, sorry. And then I did it again. And he's like, sorry. He did it a 3rd time. I was like, dude, come on, man. Like, what? You're not gonna get in the store any faster. Now, one thing of good news, look at this. Model 3 delivery is ready to be scheduled.
It's ready to be scheduled. Select your appointment.
March 19th.
Wait, that's in 2 days.
What if literally the day on the 19th, as we're going over to there, they're like, actually, we're closing down. Come pick up your car after the quarantine is over.
Stop with that nonsense.
Now, the reason why we didn't get toilet paper today is because we didn't want to contribute to the problem. Like, the toilet paper shortage is just purely out of panic. Since people are hoarding it, you limit the amount of supply, which creates more demand, and then it's kind of like a domino effect, you know? The separation just keeps getting bigger and bigger. But it's like we're using the same amount of toilet paper today as we were using a month ago. I mean, there's enough toilet paper for everybody. I'm definitely noticing that the tension is high though. And I think it's caused by all the limitations that's happened. Like, everyone's like, oh man, all the schools are closed, all the stores are closed, all the restaurants are closed, everything's closed. So that kind of almost gives them a sense of panic. But really, I think it's actually a great thing. Now is the time to be overly cautious because it's an exponential growth thing. Hey, Carrie, so you've never heard of the story of like the rice and the chessboard, right?
I don't think so.
It's this old story I heard in like elementary school or maybe middle school, but it was a story about like this king that was super powerful, but he was kind of an asshole. And then there was like this very poor peasant, and somehow like the peasant did something to the king, and the king was like, oh, thank you, I'll give you something, what do you want? So then he pulls out a chessboard, and on the first square he says, for this first square I want 1 grain of rice. On the second square I want 2 grains of rice. On the third square I want to double it again. So every square you double it. So it's like 4 grains of rice, 8 grains of rice. How much rice do you think it would be?
I don't feel like it would be that much. The chessboard has, what, like 50 squares?
64 squares.
Okay, 64 squares. And it's the individual grain of rice?
Individual grain of rice, yeah.
5 pounds of rice.
You think 5 pounds of rice? That's what a lot of people think, right? The story goes the king was never able to pay that amount. He kind of was like, oh, of course I could do it. I'm a king. I do whatever the hell I want. And he couldn't supply. Here, let me show you why. When you get halfway through the chessboard, it's 100,000 kilograms of rice. Halfway through the board.
100,000 kilograms.
Of rice on that board. That's on the first half. Okay? You think that's a lot, right? 200,000 pounds of rice, that's a lot. That's when you get halfway through the chessboard. When you get to the end, the last square alone, that is more than 2 billion times as much as the whole first half of the board. And that's the last square.
What?
That is exactly why investing is so important for like long term, you know, because you're expected to double every X amount of years. So the more years you have, it's all, you know, exponential growth. So that's like a good way to visualize like how fast exponential growth is. The thing with the coronavirus is on average, someone will infect somebody like 2 to 3 times. So 2.5-ish, right, is what they're saying that an average person will infect.
Like other people.
Yeah, so that might not sound like much until you're like a third of the way in the chessboard. You go, oh my God, this is a lot of people. By the time it gets to like halfway through the board, you're like, oh, this is impossible. There's absolutely no way. It literally would be way too late if we were to wait any longer than we did now. So I think that's why it's like, it's good that we're being proactive.
So are you using this analogy because it's like each time it doubles, so like each person...
Yeah, because every time it moves down the chain, on average, it's 2.5 times is how infectious this specific virus is.
Wow.
So we have to stop it now, or else it's just gonna like, it be explosive. When you add everything on the board, it's equal to about 210 billion tons of rice, which is sufficient to cover the whole territory of India with a meter-thick layer of rice.
The king had to compromise and be like, how about I give you like this much?
No, I think the whole theme of the story was him just kind of outsmarting the king. Was like that story. I don't know. I don't know if there's a name
He
for
probably
that
got
story.
executed for being smart.
He's like, you smart ass, off with his head. Oh yeah, here it is. The Legend of Pao Paisum. Oh yeah, and here
Oh yeah, there's the.
you can see the
picture.
chart.
Oh wow.
Exponential growth is very easy to underestimate. How our brains just kind of work. We think very linearly. We count it as like 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how our brains have processed things forever. But then once you start going to exponential growth, then all of a sudden it's like our brains don't really catch on to how powerful that growth
Right.
is. That's exactly like the whole situation with outbreaks, is that you just, like, once it gets to a certain size, like, you can't contain it because it's just so much bigger. You know, I don't think anyone should be panicked, but whenever people are like, oh my god, can you believe that they're not letting people leave the house and stuff, it's like, you shouldn't see that and be like, oh my god, go buy toilet paper. I think it should be like, oh good, they're doing something about the situation. They're preventing people from going and just like clubbing all day just like this with 100 other people. Anyways, if we didn't cancel the Bali trip yesterday, we probably would have done it today because there's all these new visa regulations that started today, I think, and also they're doing self-quarantine over there in Bali too. So it was one of those things where it's like, it felt like stressful because it felt like it was a decision. But now it's becoming more and more clear that it was inevitable. Inevitable. That's the word I'm trying to say. Oh my god, I'm just looking at the map of LA right now and there's no traffic anywhere. Very unusual. Usually it'll take like an hour to get to certain neighborhoods that we can get to in 15 minutes. I think we should take advantage. Should we go? Should we go take a look? Also, since we're just about to go pick up our Tesla in a few days, so say goodbye to this guy. This is gonna be one of our last little trips with it. You might look at this and be like, this looks like a normal freeway, but this is actually nuts. This is rush hour right now, and usually it is bumper to bumper on the 101 right now. All right, I guess we're gonna go check out Hollywood and just see what's going on over there.
I have a prediction for the future. There's gonna be a surge of babies being born because there's like really nothing to do, so couples are just like banging it out whenever they can.
You look really cute holding PETA right there. You look like you could be an evil villain with their cute, adorable dog. Imagine if LA was like this all the time with traffic and parking. This would actually be a much more livable situation. This is Carrie's last time fueling up this Jeep. But this is exactly why switching over to the Tesla's gonna be good. So that we never have to come do this again. Hey, Gene, just cover that part. Parking everywhere, no lines to anything, no traffic. Aside from the fact that we're worried about a life-threatening disease, it's nice. There's a place that has like a burger, but instead of the bun, it's Hawaiian bread.
Yeah, it's like 4 little Hawaiian breads.
That sounds disgusting.
Oh, Gene, try it. Don't knock it till you try it, bro.
Hawaiian bread? Like the
Pretzel
sweet
bun.
stuff on a burger?
Don't knock it till you try it.
Anyways, I think that's about it. Maybe we'll come back out here in a couple more days and see what's happening. At a point, do you think that we're gonna be completely on lockdown? Like we can't leave our homes? Yeah, I'd be curious how much more intense this lockdown's gonna be. No, dude, that does not appeal to me at all.